My stepchildren bragged they could break any rule because their mother would protect them. So I changed the Wi-Fi password, froze the cards, and watched the alliance dissolve. Hello everyone, welcome to Reddit Visuals. Have you ever thought you understand loyalty until you realize some people confuse love with leverage? That's what I learned the hard way. I'm James, 42, a construction project manager. I fix things for a living: broken foundations, cracked walls, and structural problems. I never thought I'd be sitting here telling strangers about how my own house turned into a battleground over Wi-Fi, groceries, and a little thing called respect. It started 3 years ago when I married Laura. She was charming, grounded, divorced with 2 kids, Ryan, who was 16 at the time, and Emma, who was 13. I had a daughter of my own, Lily, who's 10 now. I thought blending our families would take patience, maybe some growing pains, but nothing I couldn't handle. I was wrong. From day one, there was an unspoken hierarchy. Mom first, her kids second, me somewhere after the dog. Now, I didn't mind that the house was Laura's. She'd bought it in her divorce settlement, and I moved in after we got married. What made me uneasy was the financial arrangement. I was covering the mortgage payments, yeah. She still had 15 years left on it, plus utilities, groceries, school expenses, car insurance for Ryan when he got his license, even Emma's phone plan. Laura worked part-time as a dental hygienist, and her ex sent maybe $400 a month when he remembered. The math didn't work without me, and everyone knew it. I justified it at first. Told myself this is what a husband does. You step up, you provide, you make it work. But over time, the balance started to tilt, and not in a good way. At first, it was small things. Ryan would borrow my truck and bring it back with the gas tank on empty. Emma would order things on Amazon using the card I'd added her to as an authorized user: makeup, clothes, stuff she didn't need. And when I'd ask about it, she'd shrug and say she thought it was fine. Laura would laugh it off every time. "They're just kids," she'd say. But these kids were driving, spending, and manipulating like seasoned adults. About 6 months ago, things started getting worse. Ryan was a senior in high school, already accepted into community college for the fall, and he'd developed this attitude that the world owed him something. One night at dinner, I asked him to clear his plate and load the dishwasher. Simple request. He looked at me, leaned back in his chair with this smirk, and said, "You can't tell us what to do. Mom always sides with us anyway." Emma giggled. Laura didn't even look up from her phone. Just kept scrolling like he hadn't said anything. I should have said something right then. Should have drawn the line. But instead, I swallowed it. That tight feeling in your chest when you realize someone just said the quiet part out loud. Because he wasn't wrong. Laura always took their side. Every single time. But the day I stopped trying to be the understanding stepdad was the day they humiliated my daughter. It was a Saturday morning about 2 months ago. Lily was excited because I'd promised to help her bake cookies for her school's fundraiser bake sale. She loves baking. Something about measuring ingredients makes her feel accomplished, like she's creating something. We were in the kitchen, flour everywhere, music playing, and she was happy. Then Emma came in with 2 of her friends, older girls from her high school, all dressed up like they were about to film a music video. They started whispering and pointing at Lily's apron, this little pink one with cupcakes on it. One of them said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Cute." Does she think she's on one of those kids' cooking shows? Lily froze. Her smile disappeared. I told them to knock it off. Emma rolled her eyes at me and said, "Relax, she's fine." God, you're so sensitive. Then Ryan walked in with his phone out, and I watched him aim it right at Lily, who was starting to cry. He filmed her for a few seconds, then I heard the Snapchat sound effect. He'd posted it. I saw the caption later when I made him show me, "Stepdad's kid having a breakdown, LOL." When I tell you something, in me snapped, I mean it in the cleanest, calmest way possible. No yelling, no throwing things, just absolute clarity. I took the phone from his hand. He tried to pull away, but I'm bigger and I wasn't playing, and I opened Snapchat. The video was already up, already being viewed. I made him delete it right there, held the phone while he did it, but the damage was done. Some of his friends had already seen it. I looked at him and said, "That's it. That's the last time you disrespect her in this house." He actually laughed at me. Then he said, "What are you going to do? Kick us out?" It's not even your house." I didn't answer. I just walked away. But that night, after everyone went to bed, I stayed up. And I made a plan. I logged into the router settings and changed the Wi-Fi password. Then I opened my banking app, the account that everything was linked to, the one funding their entire lifestyle, and I removed Ryan and Emma as authorized users on my credit card. Then I canceled the auto pay I'd set up for Ryan's car insurance, locked my tools in the garage and put a padlock on the door, changed the Netflix password, changed the Spotify password, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus. For every subscription they used daily, I locked them out. It took maybe 30 minutes total. Then I went to bed and slept better than I had in months. By 10 the next morning, the house was chaos. Ryan came stomping down the stairs, yelling about the Wi-Fi being down. "Fix it!" he shouted at me. I was sitting at the kitchen table with my coffee, reading the news on my phone using my mobile data. I didn't even look up. Must be a router issue. Might need to call the provider. He stared at me. "Well, call them." I took a sip of coffee. "I'll get to it when I get to it." Emma came down next, frantic because her Instagram wasn't loading and she was burning through her data plan. Laura got a notification on her phone about a declined payment and came out of the bedroom looking confused and then angry. "What did you do?" she asked. I set down my coffee. "I took a break from paying for people who don't respect me or my daughter." Her face went red. "You can't just cut off the kids like that." "This is my house." I nodded. "You're right. It is your house. And my money. Let's see how long the first one lasts without the second." The silence that followed was thick enough to cut. Ryan tried to argue, saying I was being controlling, that this was abuse. Laura told him to go to his room, which honestly shocked me. It was the first time I'd seen her actually parent him in months. Emma just glared at me and didn't say a word. For the next week, they treated me like I'd committed a war crime. No one spoke to me unless it was to complain. Ryan went to stay at a friend's house after 2 days because apparently living without Wi-Fi was unbearable. Emma sulked in her room, only coming out to microwave leftovers. Laura tried to stay neutral, but I could see her cracking. She kept pulling me aside, asking when I was going to stop this. By day 5, the groceries I'd stopped paying for ran out. I'd been buying food for just me and Lily, keeping it separate. I came home from work one evening and saw Laura, Ryan, who'd come back, and Emma eating cereal for dinner. Dry cereal because the milk was gone and no one had bought more. The fridge was mostly empty. I looked at them, nodded, grabbed Lily's hand and said, "Come on, kiddo. Let's go get some real food." Laura's voice was quiet. "This is getting out of hand." I stopped at the door. "Is it? Or is this just the first time in 3 years that actions have consequences in this house?" We went to a diner that night, just me and Lily. We ordered pancakes for dinner, talked about her day, and laughed about nothing important. For the first time in months, I didn't feel like an outsider in my own life. I didn't realize how tense I'd been until I saw my daughter smile without looking over her shoulder. When we got back, the lights in the house were dim. Laura was sitting at the kitchen table with her laptop open, staring at a spreadsheet of bills. She looked smaller, tired. "You made your point," she said without looking up. "No," I replied. "I didn't make a point. I drew a boundary. There's a difference." Over the next few days, cracks started forming in their united front. Emma snapped at Ryan for starting all this by posting that video. Ryan blamed Emma for running up my credit card bill in the first place. Laura was caught in the middle, and for once, she couldn't smooth it over by just siding with them. The alliance that had been so solid against me was falling apart without me having to do anything. I just stopped being the glue holding their comfort together. Then came the night that ended it. I came home late from a job site, exhausted, and found Lily in her room crying. I sat on her bed and asked what happened. She was quiet for a long time, then finally said, "Emma told me I'm not real family. She said you and I would be gone soon anyway, that we don't really belong here." I felt my jaw clench. I went to find Laura. She was in the bedroom folding laundry. I asked if she knew what Emma had said. She sighed, that deep, tired sigh that told me she did know. "They're still adjusting," she said. Adjusting. That word hit me like a slap. 3 years, and they were still adjusting. I realized right then that they were never going to adjust. This was who they were, and Laura was never going to hold them accountable. I walked back to Lily's room, pulled out a duffel bag from her closet, and started packing some of her clothes. She looked at me with wide eyes. "Where are we going?" "Somewhere you don't have to adjust," I said. That night, I packed bags for both of us. Didn't announce it, didn't make a scene. I just wrote a note and left it on the kitchen counter. "You can have your house. I'm taking back my peace." We stayed at a hotel that first night, and by the end of the week, I'd found us a small 2-bedroom apartment downtown. Nothing fancy, older building, but clean, safe neighborhood, good school district for Lily. I bought her a new desk, some fairy lights she'd wanted, and a bookshelf for all her books. The first night we spent there, she looked around her new room and said, "Dad, it's really nice here. It feels safe." Those words broke me in the best possible way. Laura texted, then called again. I didn't answer for 3 days. When I finally did, she was crying. "You just left. You abandoned us." I was quiet for a moment, then said, "I didn't abandon a family. I left a situation where my daughter was being bullied, and I was being used as a bank account. There's a difference." She started to argue, but I hung up. I was done explaining myself. 2 weeks later, she showed up at my job site. I was in a meeting with a client when the site supervisor told me someone was there to see me. Laura was standing by the fence, looking like she hadn't slept. She asked if we could talk. I told the supervisor to give me 5 minutes. She said Ryan had dropped out of his first semester at community college to get a job because they couldn't afford it anymore. Emma was working part-time at a fast food place and hated it. The mortgage payment bounced and the bank was threatening foreclosure. Then she asked, and I'll never forget how she phrased it, "Can you loan us some money? Just until we get back on our feet?" I looked at her for a long moment. Then I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, and showed her the screen. It was a record of every payment I'd made toward that house over 3 years. Mortgage payments, utilities, insurance, groceries, everything. It totaled just over $78,000. "That's not a loan," I said. "That's what I already gave. I'm done making deposits into accounts that don't have my name on them." I walked back to my meeting. She was gone when I came out. 3 months have passed now. Lily and I have a rhythm. We cook together. She's gotten really good at making stir-fry. We laugh about bad movies. Every Sunday we bake something, just because we can, and no one mocks her apron. She joined the art club at her new school and made friends who actually respect her. Last week she told me, "Dad, I'm happy here. I don't miss that house at all." I heard through a mutual friend that Laura had to sell the house, couldn't keep up with the payments. Ryan moved in with his dad across town and works at a warehouse now. Emma's still in high school, but apparently much quieter these days. Laura moved into a small rental. I don't feel good about their situation, but I don't feel guilty either. I gave them years of support, and what I got in return was disrespect and entitlement. You can't fix people who think the problem is you setting boundaries instead of them crossing them. So here's what I learned. People will test how much of yourself you're willing to give. The moment they start acting entitled to it instead of grateful for it, that's when you know it's time to stop. I used to think love was proven through sacrifice, giving until it hurt. But real love is proven through boundaries, protecting yourself and the people who actually matter. So, Reddit, was I wrong for changing the passwords, cutting off financial support, and walking away? Or was I finally being the father my daughter needed me to be? Let me know in the comments. What would you have done in my place? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow and keeps us bringing you more real stories like this every week. Thanks for watching.